Listen at 'em. Listen at 'em. It is the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast, Thursday, March 5th, episode 50 of this show. What an accomplishment for us. Dave, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like I got 50 episodes under my belt, 50 episodes older and wiser, and looking forward to getting back into it.
I demand a pinata for episode 100. I'm getting my demands out now.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. We'll get one. We'll each take a crack at it. Maybe we can get something virtual up on the screen, and it'll give us a virtual swath of candy.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Now that my demands are met, we have some NFL news to react to before we get into all the usual segments of the show. DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills. I need your thoughts, Dave.
Initial thoughts are, they're addressing probably their biggest need, which is something resembling a wide receiver one in that offense that isn't the walking corpse of Brandon Cooks. So it's a good move in regards to that. I'd probably quickly put him as like a fringe wide receiver 3 in fantasy next year. We'll kind of have to see what they do in the draft, what they do over the rest of the offseason. Luther Burden season, I think, if anything, or Roma Dunze, we'll see. But I think Burden's probably going to be the big beneficiary of that, as he was a bit more of the big play guy. We saw that come alive plenty of times. And although, they did just lose their center, which is kind of funny. The Bears finally get something going and lose a key piece of the line. But if things continue to trend the way they do or they have been for Chicago, should be wheels up for Burden and possibly even DJ Moore. I see a scenario where Josh Allen can get him double-digit touchdowns in an effective offense. But what he actually brings to the table, I guess we'll have to see over the rest of the offseason.
Feels like a win-win for all sides to me. No, not that DJ wasn't an important part of Chicago's very successful season at times, but I think from a fantasy perspective, Luther Burden, huge breakout candidate now. Even Roma Dunze, if he can stay healthy, looks like a pure wide receiver 1 instead of kind of that hybrid wide receiver 2 going forward. Both those guys fit Caleb Williams' timeline a little better, and I think are the more explosive play guys at this point in their career. Don't be surprised if Ben Johnson and the Bears go after a wide receiver 3 in the NFL draft this year. I know that from my tenure at the Detroit Lions, where he always wanted more toys to play with. And I think that receiver room looks a little shallow at this point. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a slot guy, if they keep Burden as the deep threat and Rome as sort of the route runner. Maybe they get somebody in the slot underneath. We'll have to see. And for Josh Allen, I'm just happy he's got someone with a heartbeat and hands in the receivers room here. DJ Moore is probably the best receiver he's been able to work with in 2 or 3 seasons now?
Probably since Diggs left, yeah.
Crazy.
Without a doubt, right?
I don't know what DJ Moore will be at this point, even in his career. I thought he had some issues for Chicago, but I don't know. At least it's an upgrade from what was out there in the first round of the playoffs for Josh Allen. So Certainly. 2 thumbs up from me for both sides. Good job. On today's show, we will talk about some wins since the last episode. We will give you an NBA slate overview with 5 things to know for tonight. Dave's going to talk some NHL for us with props and parlays to bring to the table. I've got 2 college basketball games on the slate for Thursday night I want a closer look at. And guess what? There's another champ of the week. But let's start, as always, with some things you should have bet.
Should have bet that.
You nailed your king of the court analysis. I'm not surprised, Dave.
It's only partially me, partially the Dimer spot. Together, we make a very good team. And then rolled into this podcast. It's an unstoppable force. But yeah, Paolo Banchero does the job. He gets one of the 3 kings of the court, the 2nd overall spot. He was 3rd in our overall projections on Tuesday. Got over $200 in bonus bets for those who tailed. I know at least one of our former Dimers Pro champs of the week, Zoe Glitch, in the Discord tailed and played him. So he's got a nice $231 bonus bets to play with. Worth pointing out, I think I talked about this before we did our analysis of those players, but including now Banchero, Anthony Edwards, and Luka Doncic, who all won on Tuesday. 75% of all the King of the Court winners so far this season have come from our top 8 projections. 58% of them, I think it's 14 out of 24, came straight from our top 5. So while I like to personally play the long shots, and we always look at a couple guys who have a chance, sometimes we do look at ones that are in that 5, 7, 8 range as well. And if you're not looking at the top of the projections hub basically every Tuesday, you're probably off to you're handicapping yourself, not a head start, the complete opposite. You want to get in there, take a look around the top 5. Somebody is probably going to win King of the Court from that crop. Hopefully it's not Luka Doncic, because you'll get much better bonus bets for the other guys. I think even Anthony Edwards returned something like 140, 180, maybe something around there. But Luka was in his usual realm of 31 or so. And we talked about that. Does it benefit or hurt the Stars in those three winner slates? And it basically did absolutely nothing for Luka, but it gave Paolo Banchero a path to cash. Otherwise he wouldn't have, because he was second. So Projections Hub is where you want to start your Tuesday research, basically, for the NBA. Very good stuff there. Greg, College Corner, nice little 5-1 run for you. Took 2-1 on Tuesday. Unbelievable hook, free throw with literally no time left on the clock to kill the Clemson play. I had to take it at 2.5, so I was cooked anyway. But a couple of our guys in the Discord tweaked some alternate lines and managed to cash the 3-leg parlay on those plays as well. So still nice to see some success, and we're gearing up for March Madness pretty big over here. And then one last thing I don't have here on this banner, but we'll address it later in the show in a primary segment. But our NHL props have been on a pretty nice run since the Olympics break. Not a specific call out for a particular win on here, but there have been some really nice gems in the props page, specifically around points and goal scorers. And when you see the same player with an edge there, some really nice returns over the past couple of days. We'll get more into this later, show some of the examples on there. But overall, some really good returns for the NHL model since coming back from the break, especially if you are playing the props. And this is not a should have bet part right here. This is I should have called this out earlier on Tuesday. However, we did not get the approval of it until after the show. But we are going to have golf boosts for upcoming tournaments on Bet365. We did have one up, got it up after the show. We have a top 20 parlay on Rory McIlroy, Russell Henley, Tommy Fleetwood, all to finish top 20, including ties. That's got a boost to about plus 360. And we also got a plus 100 odds boost on Tommy Fleetwood to win, like I said, over at Bet365. We'll be looking to do these weekly, ideally before we shoot our first episode of the week. So we'll be able to highlight these on future shows, show you the boosts, talk about those guys in a little more detail. Worth calling out that if you don't have Bet365 and you're eligible, you can get a $150 bonus when you sign up, bet your first $5. Use the promo code DIMERS, get that bonus if you're an eligible state and a new user. It's a good book to have, especially for golf. They often have some of the better outright winner odds, sometimes substantially so. I believe they had the best price on Ben Griffin this week, 65-1 compared to about 50-1 everywhere else. So keep an eye out for those. We'll have those in future tournaments on our website, on Bet365. And of course, we'll call them out on here.
Love it. All right. Yeah, lots to look back on and feel fortunate that we were able to discuss on the Tuesday episode. I'm feeling good about the college hoops picks we've been bringing to the table. The model is picking up steam, and that Clemson play destroyed me. I was so mad, dude. They, down 3, 5 seconds left, and the point guard drives to take a contested layup with like 3 seconds left. It's like, at that point, you've got to heave the shot for the tie. If it doesn't go in, at least the cover happens. If it does go in, we go to overtime. Instead, you miss a layup, and then you foul with half a second left. It was just a brutal way. In my opinion, we should be 6-0 going into tonight. But, hey, can't be bitter. Got to move on. 5-1 is pretty good. So thank you, Dave, very much for all of that. Dimers Pro is what you need to get. Use promo code podcast. Get 50% off of Dimers Pro with that promo code. You'll want to take advantage, especially if you are a college hoops bettor like me, because we've got conference tournaments coming next week. You don't know what those matchups will be. The Predictions Hub will be updating every single day, and it'll give you projected scores, spreads, player props, all that you need to win some money betting college hoops and any sport. Okay, let's go to the NBA next here, Dave. We've got some things to watch for tonight. Where do you want to start?
So I guess we'll start with just kind of why we're going to take this approach. I think, sometimes these slates are pretty big. There's a lot to get through on dimers. So I think the best way to do this is kind of isolate a few spots. We can talk about them. We can look at what the best angles are, sort of how we do King of the Court, sort of how we did NFL weekly previews, looking at, except, those were based around best bets because we had the whole week to look at it and see how things move. The NBA, obviously, it's nightly. Most of the time, our predictions aren't up until day of. So we kind of have to see what we're working with before the show, put things together in a fairly quick turnaround time. And of course, with the NBA, we're always battling player statuses and whatnot. So we've done our best to navigate away from those tonight. In fact, we got an update on one of our guys as the show was starting positively. So I think we're in a good spot tonight. So I'll pull up our projections here. And this was kind of inspired by something I posted on social last night with a 6-game slate. I just put a little thread of, one dimers data point to look for in each game, based around matchups, what the model was saying, etc. 4 out of 6 of those cashed. 1 point shy of making it 5 with Kawhi Leonard to score 30 plus at some pretty nice plus 128 odds. We had a projection of 28, but he was playing the abysmal Pacers and had about 20 in with, I think it was like 8 or 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. But of course, the blowout, tanked his chances there. He finishes with 29. But I thought we could do something similar for tonight's slate in the spirit of time rather than do every single game. We'll highlight. I've got 4 things here to watch, bet on, look at tonight. And maybe we'll find a 5th or something else along the way. But overall, we'll dive right in here with, I think, what is probably the most notable storyline of the night. And that's Trae Young's debut for the Wizards. Let's pull up him specifically. We'll search up his predictions here and pull these here. So he's taken the floor for the first time since December 27th. He was traded about 10 days after that to Washington. He'll make his first start tonight. Already making an impact. Got ejected from the bench the other night. But what we want to know is how he's going to perform on a new team in his return from injury. Limited to just 10 games this season due to those quad and knee injuries that have had him sidelined since. He was averaging 19.3 points and 8.9 assists with Atlanta this season. And tonight you can see that we project him for 14.3 points, 1.8 rebounds, 6.0 assists, and 1.9 threes. This is held pretty much consistent all morning, all afternoon, 2.0 threes. I think 14.4 points earlier this morning when I first logged on and was checking it out. Obviously, this is under his usual production. Probably the big question here is minutes, right? We don't know exactly what he's going to play in his first game back, but you have to assume he's fully healthy. He's gelled with his teammates over practices and whatnot. So, I don't think we should be surprised if we see a more normal Trae Young output, but yeah, I think you have to approach the game with caution anyway. He does get the Jazz, pretty poor defense, though they've played competitively lately, at least by Jazz standards, combined 7 points in their last 2 losses to the Sixers and Nuggets. Last 2 games. They also rank 3rd versus opposing guards and in that period, 2nd in points over their last 15, 2nd against 3-pointers made, I believe, as well. So they've been very good versus the position. So while the defense for the Jazz has been pretty bad, we've targeted them plenty of times on King of the Court, plenty of times in articles and social posts because they've been pretty soft all year. They have stepped it up a little bit lately, and specifically against the position for Trae Young. So I think if those numbers skewed completely the other way, where they were a bottom 5 defense in those categories, I'd be pretty keen on backing Trae for some assists or threes. But between our projections, those good defensive numbers, I think I personally stay away tonight, at least as far as, investing too much. Otherwise, I might just, I don't know, I'm going to have to feel it out, but I might go, otherwise I go big or go home, take him for 5+ threes at 7-1 and call it a day. But I don't think I'm going to play him up for like a full ladder or really be betting on him to just go over his lines. Maybe take him to just come out and splash it up, try to make a big impact in his first game in front of the home crowd, I believe, and that. But otherwise, he doesn't really do much for me in his first game anyway. But
I actually think, and this is personal conjecture, I think if I was going to play Trae tonight, it would be assists. I think just in general, and this is me sort of fighting the model that I should always blindly follow. It just 6 assists in any projection for Trae Young feels low. Obviously, it's questions on his return, and all his numbers across the board, points, assists, rebounds, everything are less than you would expect. If we knew he was locked in, full strength, going to play huge minutes in this game, we don't know. But I don't think that Trae Young needs to play 35 minutes to post some nice assist numbers. He probably needs to do that for scoring impact in a game, but this is one of the better passers on earth. It's not rare at all to see him exceed 10 plus assists at full strength. We know this, but I think, you envision him in the moment of a new team, a team that, I'm sure he'd love to have a big splash. He probably, just from a vibes perspective, is more likely to get other guys involved and wow that way than he is to come off the bench gunning 50 in this game. It's just my 2 cents on who he is as a player. He's always been a really unselfish guy to play with that sort of gets a bad rap as if he's not a fun guy to play with. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the impact he has in his first game with Washington.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like I said, only 10 games this season. You could probably throw away the one where he played 7 minutes against the Nets and only recorded 1 assist. But in the others, 10, 15, 10, 17, 10 assists. 5 out of 9 games, he's hit 10 plus, and 2 games, 15 plus. So, yeah, I don't think that's a bad look at all. I think it's kind of one where I might only play 10, 12, and not really mess with him just going over the line or playing 8, because if you think he's really going to do it, go for his ceiling type game. Yeah. I don't hate that at all.
I agree with that angle for sure. It's probably smarter. Only play the big numbers if you are going to go that route. All right. Next up, you've got a guy I loved watching in college basketball, Maxime Reynal against the Pelicans tonight. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so he's got one of the better matchups, I think, on the board, at least as far as position and statistical category. Some people might feel like this is a deeper cut here, but the kid's shining lately, especially on the glass. With Sabonis done for the season, he saw an uptick of 4.7 minutes per game from January to February, and that uptick perfectly coinciding with his first double-double in a month. He's racked up 7 double-doubles in his last 14 games, hitting 12 plus boards in all but one of those, 13 and 5, 14 plus in 3. Pretty efficient shooter lately as well, averaging 57.8% from the field in February, an absurd 81.8% over his past 2 games. Against the Pelicans tonight, ranking 29th in opponent rebounds over their last 15 and season long. So just completely consistent there as far as where they cannot defend. Adjust that for centers, they still rank 27th in the NBA. In their last 10 games, that's the Pelicans, they've allowed standout performances of 15 boards to Brandon Podziemski, 12 to Andre Drummond, 11 to Bobby Portis, 14 to Bam Adebayo, 16 to Rudy Gobert, and a whopping 19 to this man here, Maxime Reynal. We project him for 10.1 tonight. Obviously not hitting those huge numbers, but here if you look at the board, it is a top 5 of the entire evening, clearly the highest in this entire game. And if you look at this game specifically, he is 1.5 higher than his own teammate and more than 4 boards projected higher than the top projected guy on the Pelicans, Derek Queen, at just 5.9. So, everything is lining up for him here. Occasionally gets into some foul trouble, but I guess who doesn't? And the matchup is just so good. It's been one that has been consistently exploited by opponents against the Pelicans this season. And it's one that I am certainly going to be looking at tonight. I got to check the odds and stuff, but I'll certainly be looking at 12 plus, 13 plus, 14 plus boards.
In a post-Sabonis world, he's eating every single night. He's just a productive basketball player. He has been at every step of his developmental career. And he's one of those guys that if he needs to, he can be a rebounder. If he needs to, he can be a scorer. He can kind of mold his game to whatever the personnel around him are. Right now, they need rebounds. And that's why you see high projections. That's why you see high numbers. And he's delivered, what is it? I think it was 5 of the last 7. He's been at 10 or more with a 13, 12, 14, 13 stretch. Had a 19 rebound game against the Pelicans not too long ago. So I love that call out. I have that one on my list as well. Hey, how about we talk about the best player on the planet, Nikola Jokic against the Lakers tonight? What do you see?
So Jokic obviously stands out here. He is top of the board practically all the way across as far as scoring. Top 3 scorer, rebounds, top on the slate, top assists on the slate. Not really surprising to see here. I think that's safe to say. What stands out most to me, I think, is his assist projection. Let me pull that one back up. And yeah, let's look at it. So he missed basically all of January, right? With except for one game at the end with a knee injury. Nuggets have been just okay, dating back pretty much to Christmas. Just over 500 over their past 30 games, 6-8 since Jokic's return. Hasn't quite looked himself in that span. His shooting efficiency is down, about a 12% drop, 3-point and field goal percentage. And though he's prone to his fair share of turnovers already, he's averaging 4.1 since his return, which is about 0.7 higher than he has throughout the season. So nothing shocking, but for a guy who's known to be table setter and really get assists, maybe a bit of a concern that he's getting a few of those passes picked off a little more frequently. Have to wonder a little bit if maybe they brought him back too early before he was completely ready. He's on the cusp of being ineligible to win MVP if he missed more than one more game. So bringing him back when they did, bought him a 1-game cushion. He can miss 1 game the rest of the season, still be eligible. He's like plus 700. SGA is minus 350. So I don't think you're going to see anything change there. Probably just going to end up getting more rest days out of it that he probably should have had at the back end of his recovery here. But if he can do his regular Jokic things tonight, I think he's got a good chance to rack up some dimes. We project him, like I said, for 11.0, highest of the night. Almost 2 full assists over Cade Cunningham, who is one of the top table setters in the entire league. And I try not to read too much into trends. There could be so many factors that dictates what happens on a given night. Someone might be hitting something in 8 out of 10 games. But what happened in that game? Was somebody injured? Was it a blowout? Something, so many things like that. But it can give you a little of an idea of a player's general production night to night, what it should look like, I guess. The only time this season, I should preface this with Jokic has gone under 10 in back-to-back games, 10 assists, that is. The only time this season he's gone under in 3 straight was a 4-game stretch spanning before and after his return, both featuring the 2 games he played his season low minutes. So a little bit of an anomaly there for the only time that he's gone under 10 assists in 3 straight games. The Nuggets defense has been bottom 10 in the league, so this game should be pretty competitive. And no matter how shaky his play is from time to time, they're a better team with him on the floor than when he's not. So I do think he's going to get to that regular production he usually does. He's playing a familiar foe in the Lakers here. It's worth noting that Jamal Murray is a top 5 projected scorer here, 26.8 points. I'm getting a little internet lag here. Sorry. 26.8 points. And that obviously correlates with positive assists from Nikola Jokic. Triple doubles around minus 125. A little bit juicy for me personally for something that requires 3 separate categories. But 11 plus assists is minus 102 on DraftKings. A ladder to maybe 14 could be in play here. But I think you're going to see a bounce back night from him, at least in regards to the past 2. And might be one of those classic Nikola Jokic nights. I mean, he's our top PRA guy, the only guy over 50. So I think we're going to see something big from him tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
need
we say more? It's Nikola Jokic. He's the best on the planet for a reason. Any given night, he can do anything you need him to do. Triple-double is always in play. And, I mean, you shouldn't bet on what's fun to bet on, but I've never not enjoyed backing Nikola Jokic for a night. Like, it's just fun to watch the best in the world do what he can do best. Okay, next up, you're looking at Trae Murphy specifically to get hot from behind the arc tonight. Why?
Well, Trae Murphy, we got a positive update on him right before the show. He was listed as game time decision, neck spasms, I believe, but said he expects or intends rather to play. So that's wheels up for me. Highest projected on the night as far as threes at 3.6 gets the Kings. Kings have the worst 3-point defense in the league over their last 15 games at 41.1%. One of only two teams, allowing over 40% in that span, or even slightly worse versus forwards at 42.1%. Murphy's had some truly wild performances lately, including a 12-for-19 game from beyond the arc versus the Bucks, who, in part because of that game, but still allow the most threes over their past 15. So you're getting a similar type of opponent matchup-wise. Plus 5 for 11 against this same Kings team just a few games ago. I did make a note here that if he was out, the next man up for the Pelicans, at least as far as threes, was Sadiq Bey at 2.3. But Murphy's in, so kind of a moot point now. Plus 108 for Murphy to get 4+. Like I said, we got him 3.6. Plus 125 for 3+ from Bey. We got him 2.3. I'm probably not going to pay much attention to Bey with Murphy good to go. One, I'm not going to bet until closer to game time, get some confirmation on his status. This is probably a late game too, probably like 10:30 tip-off here, I would imagine. But hopefully we get some clarity on that a little earlier. But yeah, I mean, guy hit 12 threes against the Bucks a couple weeks ago. He hit 5 against this Kings team. I would be happy to take him at plus money for 4, maybe 5 or 6.
Like it. Yep. I think Murphy feels like he is a guy that felt like he was well on his way to sort of just being like a league leader in threes. And then for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just like a new rookie class came in and it's like the sexy new names, right, that everyone falls in love with from a betting perspective. Maybe Murphy hasn't had like the breakout we expected and part of that situation in New Orleans, but he still has every bit the explosive night to night possibility to just rattle off 7, 8, 9 threes and be a great 3-point ladder target. So I always usually have him on my short list of guys to take a look at. And I feel like it's a pretty great matchup tonight against the Kings to be worth our attention. So there we have it, Dave. Thank you very much for those. You want to turn to NHL next, or do you have anything else on NBA before we do?
Nothing really, but I will just add that as we were doing this segment, I was adding in some props that we were talking about. Trae Murphy, 4 threes. Maxime Reynaud over 10.5 boards. Trae Young, just 6 assists, which is minus 148. So you're not even paying way down on juice. Jokic, 10+ assists, plus 875 on FanDuel. Little parlay for 4 guys a model likes tonight. I'm going to play that and then maybe sprinkle on a couple of those other ladder alternate lines, probably at a lower unit than I normally would, just for the sake of, so many guys I like. I don't like to invest like crazy, 10 units on ladder plays on a single NBA night, but I'm going to have to get a little touch at least on Jokic right now and Murphy. Maybe I'll play the Trae threes or assists at 10 or 10 and up. But yeah, a little plus 875 4-legger. I'll be on that one.
Sure. I love it. I'll be on Trae, 10+ assists. That's my one solo play tonight. We shall see how it goes. All right, to the hockey world next, where you want to talk NHL props tonight. You mentioned it briefly in passing this morning, but the Dimers props for hockey have been absolutely dialed in. You have cracked the Da Vinci Code here. You've got a strategy to share with us. What do you got?
Yeah, I actually called Tom Hanks and he could not make this podcast. I really needed him to help me out here as we've crunched the riddles and the numbers and we've solved it all. Found something nice to correlate on the Dimers website the past few days that I've used the strategy in the past and I've gone back to it the past couple of days. And basically players who get an edge in both goals and points they ping on my radar. They pop up also for an assist or in our trends as well. Even better. I'll show you a couple examples from the past few days. This is one from Tuesday. I can confirm that Mason Marchment was also in here. I have a funny little story about this one. These 4 guys all had a point and a goal edge on site, so that's why I picked them. So I loaded up these 4 guys into my bet slip, and I wanted to include Mason Marchment. However, they had points and goals markets closed at that time, so I couldn't get him in there. And it was almost podcast time, so I threw in a little 10-cent play on this, so I could quickly pull up the bets. The bare minimum you can put in, and pull them up later, add Marchment, and ride out the parlay. Well, then we recorded a podcast, and then I had 2 meetings, and I forgot to play it properly. So while this is green, it returned me a whopping $1.09. However, if I did get to playing it, I would have cashed a nice plus 1,500 using this strategy. And then here last night, I wrote up an article for this as well, but there were these 4 guys caught my radar. Again, Tomas Hertl, Dylan Holloway, and Logan Stankoven, who did not come through against the worst defense in the NHL, despite being on the floor for at least one of the goals, all but one of which had 2 assists. So there, he was right there. He should have had it, but that's okay. But you could see, what's that? 9 out of the 10 guys right there who had point and goal edges cashed a point. Some of these guys scored a goal. I played them all straight as goal scorers, so I cashed 2 of those at like plus 240, plus 300 odds. And there were some other guys. Somebody in the Discord posted they literally took every single player who had both. I think it was 11 of them, and I think 4 missed. It was about a 75% hit rate on those. So really good insights here. Obviously, if you do parlays, you're not going to hit them all the time and whatnot, but just worth pointing out that there is a little bit of a strategy here using this criteria. So I figured we could see who meets that criteria tonight, maybe build a little 3 or 4 legger, or just, highlight some guys, and you can do what you want with them. I've got a few players in mind already that I've researched before the show, but since things can change on site as odds and lines move, I figured we might as well just pull it up. I'll at least show you the quick process of how I go through finding these guys. And, we'll see if anybody different pops up notably. So I'll bring up our NHL props page here if I can find it. And so the first thing I do is I go into filter props, go to prop type, and take out everything but goal and point. I will throw in assists if I can't find enough guys that line up to see if there's somebody who has point and assist or goal and assist. But really, you're looking for point and goal because a point is a goal or assist. So you got 2 ways to get it. If you get the goal, you get the point. Pretty simple, right? So I highlight those 2 markets, and I can already tell you Logan Cooley is one of them that I have on our radar tonight. You can go scroll through everything. What I prefer to do is go game by game. So I'll come here. We'll go to Mammoth Flyers. We got 11 total props. And then if you're looking for a specific player, you can just search here. But we can see Logan Cooley, edge for a point, edge for a goal. Hits exactly what we're looking for. He's going to come up again later as well. Jamie Drysdale of the Flyers, point, goal. He hits the marks. So that's pretty much the whole process, and then you go to another game. I will often start with the games that I think have the best goalie and defensive matchups, teams that are giving up the more goals and points. Usually a good place to start. Check out Jets Lightning. I was hoping Braden Point would be on here for a point because we got him for a goal and it's a good matchup, but he does not. Actually, nobody in this game hits both. So, that's one that I would have liked because it's got a good goalie matchup, but, you can't always get what you want, said the famous Mick Jagger. Senators Flames. So it looks like, oh, that's right. Greedon was here with a point and assist, which I'll talk about. But you got Sharangovich here, point and a goal. Not really great form lately, and you got a higher probability on the young Russian here. So that is one reason I put him on my radar, and I'll talk about him as we get to the players, which I think we can move to now. I've showed you the general strategy here, but yeah, go game by game, select the certain props you want. You'll find a couple guys who stand out. If they also have an over on their shots on goal, that's probably a good sign as well. And like I said, if they also pop up in the trends, that's a pretty good thing too. So I think trends in hockey are a little bit more indicative or are a better data point than trends in the NBA or the NFL because there's so many more factors that happen in that. Hockey, especially if someone's got good shot volume, points, assists, you can really tell how much they're contributing on a nightly basis. So let's look at the 4-5 guys or so that I think are worth getting a point or playing to get a point here. And we'll start with let's see who's up first. Sorry, lost my place. All right, the Ranger, Will Coyle, I believe it is. So we got him at 50.3% to get a point. Pretty solid here. 29.3% for a goal. 29 points, fifth on the Rangers. With Panarin gone, 2 points in 3 games since the break. Skates on the top line and more ice time, about 2.5 extra minutes since Panarin was traded to the Kings. Goalie matchup is pretty good. Last I checked, he was unconfirmed, but the projected starter for the Leafs is Joseph Woll, 3.05 goals against average, 907 save percentage on the year. Since January, though, he's allowed 6 games of 4+ goals, 4 games of 5+. Leafs allow the 5th most goals in the NHL at 3.42 per game. Like I was just talking about in Flames Senators, Matt Vagreden. So he does not hit the point and goal, but he does have point and assist, which are interchangeable. If you get one, you will. Well, if you get an assist, you'll get a point. If you get a point, it doesn't matter how you got it. He's a first rounder for the 2024 draft in his 3rd stint of the season after his latest call up. Played earlier in the year. Team activated Jonathan Huberdeau, sent him down. They called him up. They sent him down for the Olympics. But he's got 6 points in 16 games in the NHL. A pretty impressive 29 and 36 in the AHL. Does play on the 3rd line. So, not quite as much exposure. But so does the other guy who meets the criteria, Igor Sharangovich. And Greedon's got the better probabilities tonight. Goalie matchup also was unconfirmed before the show, but Linus Ullmark for the Senators, 884 save percentage, coming off his worst game of his last 5, allowing 5 goals in an overtime loss to Edmonton. Flames tagged him for 3 goals earlier this season, and he's given up 6+ 3 times. So probably a nice little chance here for Greedon, who gets a high edge in both of these markets. Next, there are 2 guys in this game that stand out to me. Logan Cooley, as I mentioned, 53.2% for a point, 36.1% for an assist, 27.4% for a goal. That's big value on the point with plus money and our implied fair odds of -115. So that alone is a great straight. He missed almost all of December and January, but came back after the break, got 3 points in 4 games, 1 goal and 2 assists, 26 total points in 33 games this season. Very consistent. Goalie matchup is a little concerning. Not for the predictions, but just as far as the matchup is Flyers goalie Dan Vladar. Really good, 2.4 goals against average, is 7th best in the NHL. 2 or fewer goals, in his last 5 games. He was stellar in the Olympics for Czechia. However, the Flyers are underdogs tonight, so there's something there. They do think the model does think the Mammoth is going to get through. So do the books, obviously. So don't think you need to shy away from him just because of the goalie matchup, but you should be aware that they could be a little hard to come by against the Flyers. In that same game, Jamie Drysdale. If you want the better goalie matchup, this is where you're going, but just at lower probabilities. 44.5% for a point, almost 35% for an assist, just around 15% for a goal. He's got 25 points in 57 games, 2 since the break. Mammoth allowed the 4th fewest goals in the entire NHL, but the matchup for the goalie is a little bit better. Getting Vanacek, who's allowed 3+ goals in 9 of his last 11 since he opened the season with 3 games, allowing only 2. So you're getting a combination here of a rough, not very good goalie, but a very good defense. If you're going to do like a round robin or something, you got to pick one realistically, but they both have some very good spots from the model. They align up with multiple edges. All 3 of them get all 3 edges here, which I think is pretty notable. And one more guy, Mason Marchment, the one who I could not get the other night. So surely he will get it tonight when I do bet on him. 56.4% for a point, 32% for a goal. Got high value on the goal, 6.6% edge, 4 points in 4 games since the Olympics break. Florida has had their goaltending woes this year, mostly from Sergei Bobrovsky, which is kind of interesting. He's been an integral part of their cup runs lately, but they've allowing the 7th most goals per game, and they look to turn to Daniel Tarasov getting the start tonight. Pretty solid 2.8 goals against average, 903 save percentage. Stumbled a bit lately. Allowed a 5-goal game right before and after the break. And this is an interesting one here. While we have him, I'll just pull up. Now, I don't bother pulling up the projections. We don't need to do that again. But I will just mention that there were 3 guys in this game that hit these criteria. Kent Johnson hit all 3 props, and you had Sean Monahan hitting point and assist. So when I see something like that, I go and I check the season stats. I see how they stack up. Monahan's got 29 points in 56 games. Johnson's got 18 in 57. Mason Marchment has 17 points in 18 games since being traded to the Blue Jackets. He had more than he had in his previous 29 with the Kraken. So he's excelled in his new home. He's been on fire before and after the break and just killing it since he came over. So looks like Marchment to me in this game. And pretty much that's how I would approach tonight's slate. Looking for the guys who hit multiple boxes and have good to moderately favorable matchups. So how to play these guys, that's mostly up to you. I think there's 3 main ways. You play them straight as points or goal scorer props, play them as a points parlay, or as a goal scorer round robin. And that's exactly what I did last night. And if Stankoven gets a point, we cash 3 of the 4 straights, a ×3 on the round robin, and the 4-leg points parlay. He didn't, so I cashed 2 goal scorer straights, a very small, modest return on a 2 ×2 round robin. But if you played all the top guys, you crushed it because we had Brock Bozer of the Canucks in there. But I wanted to play the other side of the matchup personally. So seems like a good strategy. That's worked out the last couple nights. It's worked for me in the past. And I'm going to roll with it again tonight using these 5 guys that we've highlighted here. Lots of ways to play the NHL, but this stands out to me a lot.
I love it. Anytime you come with, hey, I got a new strategy, you have my full attention, from the home run round robins in baseball season to some of the first touchdown concepts you've applied with football. Now you're in the hockey world, and I love it. Using the Dimers models data in a fun, creative way and a smart way, quite frankly. That's how this is supposed to work, ladies and gentlemen. Be like Dave. Get Dimers Pro. Get 50% off with promo code podcast, that you can sort your way through all of these projections for every game that you're looking at in the sports world. And hopefully you get some good luck for this, Dave, because that was a wonderful presentation of how to bet NHL tonight. Let's do college hoops next. It's my time to shine. The college corner is back, 5-1 in our last 6 picks. Looking at 2 games for Thursday night.
College Corner.
All right, if you've listened to the first 49 episodes of this show, you know that I reside in the state of Michigan, and the 2 teams on a collision course for each other this Sunday, Michigan and Michigan State, have their final tune-up before that game tonight. Michigan State hosts Rutgers, and Michigan is on the road at Iowa. I thought it'd be fun to just jump into the game predictions hub for both of these. We do have a best bet in one of them. That's the one we'll start in. It's Michigan State and Rutgers. So if you don't mind screen sharing for us here, we'll just take a closer look at exactly what the Dimers model predicts tonight. The line is Michigan State minus 20.5, and that's where the best bet comes in. We project a 22-point victory for Michigan State. That's a decent probability of 54%, and an edge of 2.2%. Not as large as some others on the slate tonight, but it's good enough for me. If you're unfamiliar with Michigan State senior nights, let me tell you about them. They are one of the only programs in all of college basketball that chooses to do their senior night festivities after the final home game instead of before the final home game. That is a Tom Izzo specialty. It is entirely designed to force his team to deliver and play great and just get to those moments they want to have. Not only is it beneficial in terms of trying to win games and create large scoring margins, but also Michigan State lets each of their seniors kiss the floor. and Tom Izzo subs them out one by one in order to do so. You can really only do that if you have such a sizable lead that you don't have to worry about spending 3 minutes of the final portion of the game kind of bringing in your walk-ons in order to get them a chance to do that. So it sounds extravagant because it is quite extravagant, but I'm telling you from watching this program for 20 plus years under Tom Izzo, they often find a way to do it. You've got to back Michigan State on senior night. And Rutgers is an opponent that is completely overmatched here. Somehow, some way, in Piscataway, these teams did meet once earlier this year, went to overtime, and Michigan State played one of their worst games of the season. So if you are a spot better, I think you should recognize Michigan State will have their full attention fully focused for this Rutgers opponent that they laid a stinker for in the first matchup. But there isn't much on the basketball profile that leads you to believe Rutgers will have any success offensively. For that reason, I do have Michigan State minus 20.5 on my card. I think you can see this senior class get it out to hopefully a 30-point lead and then get to see the festivities take over for Tom Izzo. I want to turn to the Michigan-Iowa game next. This one should be a little bit more competitive, and there is no best bet, or at least there wasn't at the time of preparation for this show, that pulled a large enough edge to show on the best bets page. However, the closer we get to game time here, I actually see the probability and the edge rising for the over at 145.5. And I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up pulling as a best bet by the time we get to game time based on the way this is trending right now. This is going to be a stylistic contrast between one of the slowest teams in all of college basketball in Iowa and one of the most frantically paced Michigan Wolverines teams that you can find in the sport. It's really one of those things when a team this slow plays a team this fast. It all comes down to the early portion of the game. If Michigan is able to pull ahead early in the game, use their athleticism, their size, and overwhelm an Iowa team that is really limited in both those areas, I think you're going to see Michigan force their will, get out and run, get stops. And Iowa, at that point, if they have to play from behind, it doesn't really benefit them to slow the game down and play the way they want to play. At an 8.5-point spread, as you can see, our model leans that Iowa has a slight probability edge to cover there, but it's a negative edge to actually bet it at the sports books. So I think that's probably dialed in. I don't think I would touch the spread at 8.5, but I do think it's likely over the course of 40 minutes at some point, Michigan is able to create a lead, and Iowa will not be able to just drag the pace down to a halt like they normally like to play. If Bennett Sturts has to play from behind, he is offensively gifted enough to find ways to score against a Michigan defense that, keep in mind, just lost LJ Kaysen, their backup point guard, their best perimeter defender. It's going to put pressure on Elliot Cadeau, the starting point guard for Michigan, to stay on the floor, avoid some of those boneheaded fouls he's been known for. I really love this over in general, but I love it especially if Elliot Cadeau finds foul trouble, because then you're going to see Michigan go to their bench. Going to their bench has not affected their offense really at all this year. It has at times affected their defense, and I think you can see a freshman like Trae McKinney or even Roddy Gale struggle with the Bennett Sturts assignment. So for me, it's the over 145.5, 55% probability, and as that edge continues to rise, don't be surprised if you do see it in the best bets page for college hoops tonight. And then Michigan State minus 20.5 is also my favorite against the spread play tonight.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. What's your early line for Sunday?
Ooh, I think it's going to be Michigan minus 8.5. That's my guess. We shall see. But I'll be in the building for that one. Should be fun.
Awesome.
Actually, Dave, before we wrap College Corner, could I ambush you? Could we look at the props page for just a moment?
Certainly. Say less.
I was sorting through this a little bit earlier because there are a bunch of great player projections and props the same way our NBA model works for college hoops. And we don't talk about this nearly as much as we do with NBA, quite frankly, because the sports books offer significantly less player props with college basketball. It's very hit or miss what will be available to bet. But I actually want to look at that very top probability player prop that you see right on the screen right now. Cam Maniaiwu for Iowa, under 6.5 total rebounds enormous probability here. It is minus 150 odds with MGM. Of course, that is some juice. I don't love that number as much as I'm sure you don't love that number. But when you think about this matchup, it's a smash spot. Cam is an undersized forward for Iowa. Their entire front court is undersized. This Michigan trio of bigs between Yaxel Lendeberg, Adai Mara, and Merez Johnson is just absolutely dominant against even the best bigs in the sport. They're massive. They go 7'3", 6'11", 6'10" in those front court spots. And you look at what Michigan was able to do. I'll single out Illinois as the example. That was their most recent game. Illinois grades out as an elite rebounding team, the number one team in average height in all of college basketball are the Illini. They go 7 foot everywhere, and they still did not hold up nearly as well on the boards as they normally do. Tomislav Ivicic, their 7'1" center, only had 4 rebounds in that game. If he couldn't find success against the Michigan front court, I just don't think I can picture a world where Manyawu does. I think 4.2 as a projection feels spot on. Even that might be a little bit rosy if Michigan executes the way I expect them to. So it's very rare you see a 66% probability at a spread, even minus 150 in terms of price. I wish it was minus 110, but at minus 150, I won't complain. You still get a 6% edge.
Yeah, I fall into this trap sometimes, where I have odds that I'm like, I just don't touch this on a straight. It's my personal feeling. It may not be the smartest thing. It really kind of depends how you approach betting, but a general rule is if the bet is good, if you like the bet, if the matchup is right, if the data says it, you should worry less about the odds. Because over time, every little win helps. So, not necessarily the worst thing. If you can find 5.5, you're going to get really good odds and probably a great play. Still 1.3 under projection under the line. So very good.
Yep. And make sure you sportsbook shop. In the NBA world, that means you're price shopping. In the college hoops world, that means you're just looking for the props because you cannot find Cam and Yahoo under rebounds with a DraftKings or with a FanDuel the last that I checked. But shout to MGM for offering that market tonight. So, all right, there we have it. Make sure you subscribe to the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. With college hoops, especially when we do this show, there's only a few hours until these games tip. You want to get those notifications as quickly as you can when we drop a new episode. And every like, every comment helps us continue to grow this show. Let's go next to another Dimers Pro Champ of the Week.
The Pro Champ of the Week.
Great name on this Champ of the Week this week. It is Dollar Menu in the Dimers Pro Discord. Dave, what did Dollar Menu do to earn this spot?
I love Dollar Menu. They are a longtime user, huge hockey fan, very active in the Discord, always sharing slips of their favorite goal scorers, props of the slate, whatnot. Sometimes they take, collab with some other guys in there. It's a really fun time. And I think this screenshot right here is just a perfect example of the beauty of the Dimers Discord. On your left, you have Dollar Menu posting this slip on what was this, Monday, March 2nd, 1:45 p.m. And then by the end of the day, Jay Solstice posting the winner that comes through at plus, what is that? 22.10 for the winning slip right there. Even better odds than our guy posted. So just love to see the community working together, before and after results right here. No surprise that it's a regular user, Jay Solstice, who we've shouted out on here a few times, also being active and doing the same. So congratulations. Welcome to the segment. Champ of the Week. We'll have to hook you up with a Dimers Pro Discord badge for your honors.
Yeah, Dimers Pro badge, and when you're hitting tickets like that, you can buy a lot off the Dollar Menu.
Yes, you can.
I'm sorry for my corny jokes. Let's get to what else is on Dimers this week.
It's good, buddy. It's good. You never apologize for a pun, ever.
Well,
what's on Dimers this week? We got a lot. Tennis is back. Well, never like it ever went away, but big event is back. It's Indian Wells. There's so much tennis this week. Round of 128 right now. The site is loaded with bets and props. Not props, sorry. Bets and predictions. Tons of them on site. So please keep an eye out there for the regular parlay articles. There is one up now that is starting, I think, at the top of the hour. I have to go get that in, actually, so I should probably wrap this up quick. Arnold Palmer Invitational updates after every round. Small field there should prevent any major delays or suspensions unless it's solely due to weather. We'll have the value every day if you're digging in. Daniel Berger off to a hot -9. I grabbed him live at 33-1. He's down to 7-1. What else we got? We got Scotty Scheffler only -2, but better than his last performances. And hey, he's plus 600. So almost double what he was pre-tournament. If you're gonna get Scotty, I'd say go get him now.
How about Nico right now? Do you see what Nico's doing? Defending champ, 6 under through 9 to open? Crazy.
Yeah, this is nuts. I might have to actually quickly grab him for first round leader. Only 3 back. Jeez, that's crazy. It's -69 is nuts at this course because a lot of these guys were struggling. But where's our guy? Oh man, where's Tommy? Oh, Tommy Fleetwood, not like this. He's +2 right now. It's all right. He'll bounce.
Oh, it's early. It's early, Tommy. We got
very early. Henley was down there earlier too, and he's up -2 now. So no worries. Yeah, of course, the usual daily sports, some more social, written content, that app, and more. Greg, we want to do a Friday show tomorrow?
We could do a Friday show.
Okay,
for a Friday show.
Yeah. College corner for the weekend and a little slate preview, maybe some futures talk.
We can swing a Friday show. Yeah.
We'll do a quick one. So we'll bless you guys with a Friday show this week and maybe a few more moving forward as we gear up. March Madness is coming, baseball's coming. It's going to be a good time on the Dimers podcast.
Gotta love it, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your Thursday evening, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast.